Heat waves and droughts can cause floods. I know this sounds like some kind of random word association, like motorbikes and frustration can cause cookies, but I promise you I'm making a serious scientific point. And in fact, this is precisely what the UK has seen the past few days, as exceptionally heavy rains led to scenes like this. This followed many weeks of a British summer that was notably hotter and drier than usual. But how? How could abnormally hot, dry conditions cause flooding, which is basically the definition of too much water? Well, I'm going to tell you when. I mean, right now, if you stop interrupting. So during unusually hot, dry conditions, you've got more evaporation than you normally would, but less rain than you normally would. So the weather is effectively withdrawing more from its water bank account than it's earning. And this leads to soils getting drier and plants dying. So now you're effectively in some pretty hefty water debt. So surely exactly what you need in this situation is some heavy rain to even out your bank balance. Well, thanks for sticking with the analogy, but unfortunately not. Heavy downpours can lead to flash floods anyway, but when you dry soils out, those soils get compacted, and the channels in those soils for water to enter it get lost. That means that when it does pour, the water can't get into the soil and so just sits on top of it. In other words, leading to a flood. It's also hard to predict exactly when and where a thunderstorm will arrive, for reasons vaguely connected to my PhD, and so it's hard to precisely prepare for this flooding. And what exactly does that mean in your bank analogy? Oh, well, I guess it means something like you get a really big payout, but you don't know what to do with all that extra money, and so you end up buying yourself loads of extra drinks and making yourself sick. I think it's time to give up on this analogy. Agreed. This drought, then downpour leading to flood, is precisely what parts of the UK have experienced over the past few days. And I know this pretty well because I was walking to a friend's as it started to rain and, well, let's just say that my shoes are still drying several days later. But, you might be thinking, but at least this extra rain would restore water reserves which were depleted during the drought. And the answer is, sadly not. Since the water isn't properly getting absorbed by the ground, it isn't properly replenishing soils. As one hydrologist put it, these rains are just a drop in the ocean. All of this is yet another reason why we can't think of climate change or all the symptoms of climate change as stand-alone threats. Yes, climate change is making heat waves much worse, and there's evidence that in Western Europe, climate change is making droughts and downpours worse as well. And all of these things are bad enough by themselves, but we forget just how bad they can be when they interact. But the flip side is that these interactions work the other way round too. Protecting ourselves from one threat helps safeguard us from another. So better preparing for drought means that we're better ready for the heavy rains when they come. And protecting ourselves from those heavy rains means we can make the most of that water. And, of course, protecting ourselves from climate change means protecting ourselves from all those threats, from diseases to droughts to downpours to displacement of people from their homes. Protecting ourselves from all those threats that climate change makes worse. Check out one of my first ever videos to find out what we actually mean when we say climate change is making extreme weather events more likely. Okay, until next time. Bye. Mum, I'm trying to film something.